Hey, how's it going? My name is Marcin Łukasik. I'm the content marketing team lead at 10Clouds, and welcome to the next episode of 10C Voices. This time it will be a little bit different because I decided to invite two people who will be speaking at the next Block Expo event in Berlin. For the record, if you haven't bought your ticket yet, please do it now. Coming back to my guests, although they come from different places, they have one thing in common. They represent the best that there can be and what the Web3 industry has to offer. And most importantly, they know how to help people grow their businesses. So please welcome Alizee Carli, Director of Strategy and Ecosystem at Casper Association. Hello, Alizee.
Hi, Marcin. How are you doing?
I'm good. Pleasure is all mine. One question, Alizee. I believe that many people are familiar with the notion, the Casper Network, but probably not all people have heard of the Casper Association. Could you shed some light, please, on that entity?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, the Casper Network is, as many of the ones that are watching know, is a layer one blockchain, public blockchain. That was launched in the mainnet was launched in 2021, and the association is a non-for-profit foundation, if you will, that is based in Switzerland. And really, what we do is we foster the organic growth of the ecosystem. So we are, in a way, the stewards of the chain. We support developers building on Casper with education programs, grants, support from our development team. So that's what we do. We have 12 full-time employees. And then the members of the associations are, of course, the validators of the chain.
So we will definitely talk about what the Casper Association has to offer. We're going to address it today. And now Paweł Łaskarzewski, entrepreneur, investor, Synapse Network, and Molecule One, just to name a few projects on your track record. And of course, a crypto evangelist, or this is at least how you ask me to call yourself. I wonder if this nickname still works?
It still works, and it's expanding every day because as we had this discussion today before recording this live, and it was very nice and interesting discussion. We need to educate, we need to provide knowledge to the people, we need to simplify the market to allow the 99.5 remaining % of the humanity who are not familiar with the crypto to somehow be familiar, to somehow be able to enter this stage, this space, to somehow remove them all the obstacles that they have in the road to the blockchain world. So that's our job. That's job of the builders. That's jobs of entrepreneurs, and that job of evangelists, the people who are willing to share their knowledge and to be there, answer any questions they are, and to help the industry to grow. So yeah, definitely.
I hope that after this webinar, we're gonna collect a few more folks who will get convinced to numerous advantages that come along with blockchain. But I think that we'll also talk a little bit about some hazards, some threats that also inevitably occur. Speaking of topics that I would like to address today, first off, we're gonna talk about why and how to build an Web3. What the journey from Web2 to Web3 should look like, how the bear market impacts businesses, how to grow protocols ecosystem. And lastly, I think I will kindly ask you to sneak peek a little bit what you're going to talk about at the next Block Expo event. How about that?
Sounds good. And what I think is actually, to me, we really need to broaden the terminology and, talk about what makes a business future-proof. And, I'm skipping the Web3 elements. We have the strong conviction that any future-proof business will leverage a blockchain and a decentralized technology in the future. And, why do I think that? So the economy, as we see it, is becoming more and more digital. I don't know if you remember, but A16Z said software is eating the world. So to me, blockchain is the natural evolution of software. So, you know, giving back provable ownership of digital assets. So I do think that a future-proof business is one that uses blockchain. So I'm very, you know, very convinced that this mass adoption is just starting, but will happen. And we're super committed at Casper to support that.
I think it's very important when it comes to blockchain mass adoption to talk about in a very human way about specifics that relate to blockchain, which are sometimes very convoluted, but still they carry an important new value proposition to all stakeholders, from developers to end users. Would you be able, Alizee, to define that value proposition as of now?
Yeah, so absolutely. I think there are many use cases. To me, there are the ones that we know already around, you know, copy protection, provable digital ownership, which opens up a lot of, you know, new use cases. But there are also the future ones that are just being started. So I give you an example in sustainability. I think a lot of projects are focusing on supply chain traceability. So, you know, guaranteeing that your carbon reduction that you're claiming is true and you can prove it, or guaranteeing that your cotton that you use is organic and you can show where it came from via blockchain. I think there are also future use cases where you can you know, you can think about the carbon budget as a whole, which is how much carbon you can spend. I'm going into an example that, you know, if you know my background in the energy transition before joining Casper is very important to me. But so coming back to this example, so if you imagine the carbon budget, which is how much carbon you can still spend to limit climate change, I think blockchain can be that solution where it's an entire new trading platform without unnecessary intermediaries, and with the transparency that it can really work to solve like these very extremely complex problems. That's what makes me excited.
So I guess the bottom line is that someday we will have the time when people will use blockchain without even knowing it, because it will be so popular, so common, and even random, just as we use some platforms, you know, leading platforms from the so-called Web2 industry.
So it's already happening, I must say. So are you, Martin or Alizee, are you using Visa card maybe by any instance?
Yes.
So 2019, every time you're paying with your Visa card, you're using blockchain under the hood, because since 2019, Visa is using to do settlements under the whole ecosystem, USDC on Ethereum, to make settlements. And this is something that happened in 2019, and most people do not notice that even. So like you have millions or even billions of people all over the world that are using blockchain every day, and they don't even know. So that's the future we are looking for. And basically, what can be added to this, we are in a very similar situation where we were during the dot-com bubble in 2000. Like the market is in very similar, the crypto market is in very similar situation. Those were the moment when new general purpose technology called internet have been created. Right now, we are at the doors of newly created technology, blockchain. We after dot-com bubble burst, a new economy has been built, like social media, digital marketing, e-commerce. No one ever heard about those. And those industries right now are providing hundreds of millions of jobs all over the world. And what was needed, like over a decade, to build those economies, the need was to build tools to allow people to use those solutions in a way that was super easy, that was removing all the obstacles in the road to use those things. Like I can, like in 5 minutes, order a food from the shop nearby. I don't even need to go there with a huge app from Żabka, you know. So that's super easy. It was not easy 20 years ago. And we are in the same moment in the blockchain space. And the thing that is super needed to expand from 0.5% conversion that we have right now to like 90% conversion worldwide are tools. We need to build tools that will simplify users for users the road to the blockchain. Like, for example, I would not be surprised if on our iPhones in the next 5 years, wallets are going to be a crypto wallet with a security element in your phone, which is very similar to what Ledger is doing, but on your phone with your biometric security. So there is no need to remember anymore your private key. That's the adoption we all looking for.
Just one question. So do you perhaps assume that as of now, we don't have enough tools? They are not of good quality. They don't have enough features that would meet the end users' needs and expectations, or probably we don't simply have people who might do these tools.
I think
Yes.
you are right in everything. Like all the that
Yeah,
are
yeah, exactly. I would agree. And to build on what you just said, Marcin, to me, it's all about inclusion. So it's about the millions of developers that are considering maybe blockchain or not yet, but that should be able to on-ramp to blockchain in a much easier way using their natural language of preference. And this is really something that we've decided from the start at Casper. So at Casper, you can do your contract execution using WebAssembly and Rust. So you don't need to learn a specific new language like Solidity or Plutus. And I think this is very important to onboard the next billion users and to onboard the next million developers to build those applications. I think we're noticing that now many more developers are onboarding to blockchain. So to me, it's already happening. And you need that flexible infrastructure to meet the needs of, these developers. And then at Casper, we care a lot about enterprise. So when you look at enterprise, they need, it's unrealistic to think that they will completely adapt to what blockchain is now. I think they should have the flexibility to integrate blockchain into their technology stack, and that it really brings value to their development teams.
I can't blame people who fear to use blockchain. When we start our discussion about Web3, smart contracts, transaction fees, gas, and so on, this is mind-boggling. And I can imagine many people scared away just because, from their point of view, it is too complex. Those people might say, well, why would I want to build anything in this way while I have something similar which works in a traditional way, and it works, right? I believe that many people might raise the question. So at the end of the day, creating some sort of a flexible, as you said, Alizee, and customized tools that might expedite the entire process from the idea to the moment of release, probably that would make a big splash.
And also one problem that I see on the market right now is that a lot of crypto companies are trying to solve problems without thinking about, they are not trying to solve problems. They are trying to create technology in the first place. And that's sometimes an issue because they are not thinking about business problems that they are trying to solve. And the approach that I saw in the most successful companies that are on the market or are building solutions right now is that they started with a problem. They identified the business niche, or even not niche, but the business part of the market where they can fit in with their solution. And then they started to build technology that fits this and solve this problem with blockchain underneath. And that's, in my opinion, how it should be done, because most of the projects are a lot of projects in the crypto, not maybe most, but they are trying to build tech. They have some imaginations about the market without identifying the flows, the problems, the issues that they can solve. And then after building the version A of the product, they are going out to the market. They're reaching out their potential clients and they're saying, guys, but this is, we will not use it because this is not solving any problem that we have. We have problems here. So maybe you can pivot, and they are pivoting, but usually they have not enough cash because they spend money on marketing, how most of the projects are in the crypto are doing. and they don't have capital to do a pivot. And that's why in 2017-14 we've seen like 95% that were trying to build something go down. So that's the problem of approach of the industry. But why? Because it's a young industry, and as I previously said, we've seen exactly the same thing in 2000. So a lot of companies were trying to solve non-existing problems, and they were dying because they were not be capable of pivoting to the right track, solving a business problem. So that's why I'm very keen always to speak with projects and saying, guys, what kind of problem you are solving? You need to have a very clear answer. What kind of problem, what part of the market you are approaching, who are your clients, and with whom from those organizations you are going to speak about to implement your solution there. So those are the questions that each and every product should answer, but not always it's happening. Yeah.
Alizee, anything to add?
No, I'm exactly aligned with that. I think there is a big element of education that is missing. And, even when I started years ago looking at blockchain, the level of, difficulty to get into that space is huge for, the common holders, the builders, and even for enterprise. And the best example that I have is, so if I position Casper Network, so we have the association, and then there is a for-profit business that is called Casper Labs. You probably know Meda Parlikar and Mrinal Manohar, who are the co-founders of the entire project, and CEO and CTOs of Labs. And what Labs does is actually a pro services consulting company that actually works on these real use cases. So they talk to a lot of projects and enterprise clients that have specific difficulties, but they don't know how to solve it with blockchain because they don't have that knowledge. So you do need very experienced engineer teams that are used to working with blockchain to actually design the right solutions that will integrate seamlessly and that will solve your issues. So I do think that more and more of these consulting hubs will appear with thinking about the solution and the real problem before building actually the blockchain tool or app. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but probably this company should expand their sales departments, or probably marketing departments, because as far as I know, these parts are like the closest touch points with the potential clients. Folks who work out there, they know a lot about people gonna use their products, and probably we should somehow copy paste the procedure from the traditional way, which means that people who are into blockchain should first do proper research, find out what people really want, what the final users might desire, and then they should start thinking about developing their solution, not the other way around.
Yeah.
That's the best way, because you are starting with the need. And if you are properly identifying needs and you can fulfill those needs, that's like 60-70% of the success. Technology is just a way to fill this need, or your idea how to solve it. You can do this like on AWS with traditional development, that's fine. You can do this through the blockchain. It gives you a lot of additional advantages over the others on the market. That's also fine. But at the end, you are starting with identified market, identified clients, with identified people and personas to whom you should speak with, like innovative managers in every major company. Those guys understand what is how important it is. Even each and every bank in the world have their own guys in the innovation department, and those guys understand the potential of crypto. Even if those banks are saying crypto is scam, etc., they are working on this because they cannot afford on being late in this new wave of new financial businesses, new financial products that can be built in the future. They need to be there, even if they are saying something different publicly. So that's why this is super important to start from identifying a need and to have an idea how to fulfill those needs. So that's, in my opinion, like no-brainer in this sense.
I came to realize that probably, I don't want to elaborate too much on that, but the problem that you've described, Paweł, might be I don't know, a ramification of the fact that before the crisis broke out, we had a lot of capital for blockchain companies. And then we had like founders who were saying, hey, there's money, let's come up with some top-notch technology that will bring down the house. Although it's not very useful, it doesn't come in handy, nobody needs it, but probably that will be a way to collect money.
So 100%, this is exactly like, I give you some small description of how dot-com bubble has been built. So like a lot of projects with most of them didn't have a very good business models, overvalued, overinvested. Sounds familiar? Like exactly the space we had like last year. Too many projects with shitty ideas, not very well balanced business models. They were not building a stuff. They were just adding like blockchain, DeFi 2.0, NFTs, etc. to their names, or verse to be more in the metaverse style, or Fi to be more in GameFi style. And this was like exactly during the dot-com bubble. Like they were adding .com and that's it. And your company was valued 10 times that more than it should be, or 50 times more. So that's why I'm thinking the ease of collecting the capital on the market was also the issue of why the ratio of successful to unsuccessful companies like 90% to 10 or 95% to 10, because most of them were not experienced teams that were not able to develop a product, that were not able to develop a business, which are two most important elements. You need to have a business development department that will sell the product that you have built. Either way, you are not able to sell the product because you don't have it, or you have a product but you don't have people that will sell it. So you need to have both. And that's why most of them were thinking about money collection. That's why we had so many rug pulls. And that's why so many regulations are going to be put in place in the next years, like MiCA in Europe, Biden's regulations for crypto in the US. But from the other perspective, those moves are allowing and will allow a big capital to enter the space, because they're going to feel secure, much more secure in this market. And that will allow more retail customers to enter this space, because those big brands will provide them and facilitate the whole blockchain layer, so they can have an ease of use of the blockchain without even knowing that they are using blockchain. And if you will right now check Fortune 500's HR website of each and every company of Fortune 500 list, you will find out that every company from this list had or have Web3 positions right now that they are recruiting for, because they see the potential, they want to develop. And you have plenty of examples, like Polygon is closing right now, or any other blockchain is closing right now. Big brands entering the space. Like this is happening right now because everyone see the potential that will, pop out on the market in the future, like in the next 5-10 years. It's the next general purpose technology, like internet, electricity, etc. So it's a universal underlying layer to exchange any kind of digital assets. And everything that we currently possess digitally can be put on blockchain and simplify the secondary market exchange. So that's the thing.
Alizee, I have one question to you. You represent a critical part of the entire industry, the network. As we spoke about the bear market before, I'm wondering, how does that situation impact your business as a protocol? And I will have a second part of that question, but I will ask it later.
Okay, sure. And I think, building on what you were saying, Paweł, I do like the bear market in the sense that indeed all the hype and the distrust and the pullworks are a bit, put on the side, and you can really take this step back to reflect and think about, for projects, think about what their future looks like, how they really build their business in a sustainable way. And what makes us, stronger at Casper is that we were built during a crypto winter. So we started late 2018, and at that time until 2020, it was crypto winter, and still we laid out the foundation of Casper at that time, which means that our intention was always to be there for the long run. The way that Labs was set up is to not do a pump and dump after 3 years where you never see the co-founders again. So they're here. The way they set up their equity and their rewards, even for the entire company, is to stay for 5-10 years. So how much time it is needed to create great software. So to me, the bear market is that time of more silence, where you focus on the better projects. You help them actually indeed think about their business model, how their technology is suitable for each and every protocol. I think there needs to be a great match between the project and the protocol. It's not, they're not similar, they're not the same. So Casper is a non-EVM protocol, and you will get, we have great NFT standards. So based on what you're building, you need to really think through which protocol is the best for you to scale. And through grant programs, you get all the support that you need financially, but also in terms of business building to scale your project.
Yeah, 100%.
Please, Paweł, continue.
Yeah. So I wanted to say that 100% that the bear market is very good, because if you will check like top 50 coin or top 100, most of those projects have been built during the bear market. Because during the bear market, what bear market is giving you, what kind of advantage? Like not so many scams, more curated capital. You have access to better people, better funds that will help you in the future to grow, because those shitty funds will not invest because they are too scared, too spooky. Bear market for them is. And that shows their maturity. So they are not mature enough to invest capital in the bear market when you are building stuff. So you have much better quality capital, but it's much harder to get this quality capital, because you need to convince the guys that actually are understanding the market and they see the potential, what you can do in the future during the bull run to invest into your company. So those elements are the best, and you don't need to take care of the retail customers and building the user base during the bear market. You don't need to take care of the marketing during the bear market. You are focusing on exactly the thing that a young business should focus on to build a business. If you have a very good product, it's going to be much easier to convince in the future. That's a general rule of thumb of the business worldwide, not only the crypto business. If you have good product, you can sell it much easier and you can acquire much more customers in the future without spending like massive amounts on marketing, etc. So that's why I agree 100%. And those advantages are given during the bull run, bear market.
I have a follow-up question. Since you both are to some way committed or involved in protocols, networks, and you, Alizee, mentioned about scrutinizing deeply different projects to find out more about the business models, whether they are sustainable or not. So $1 million question is how to tell the bad from good projects apart. How to differentiate gems from trash.
Well, it's not a perfect science, but what I think is, of course, there are multiple things to us, like our community recommendations and network recommendations plays a big part, in the sense that I really believe in the personal interactions, like people to people, who are the people behind the project, no matter the project, right? So you need to trust into the vision of the founders, their commitment to support that project and scale it. They can be, very experienced, but also new to the space, but, very eager to make it work. So to me, recommendation is important, but then also we look at a lot of things. So the quality of the technical team, of course, the developer team is really important. The fit with the vision of Casper. So, one of the key things is we're not, security is the most important thing. So we don't want anything that will compromise our security in terms of bridges or interoperability. That's super important. And then sorry, and then yes, so all these things are taken into account. So we have a scoring system. So it's the on one sense the human side of, you know, how this project came to us, and we look also proactively for projects that solidify the ecosystem. So it's reactive. So, you know, we get projects, but we also look for the right projects to grow our ecosystem. And then it's also about, you know, fundamentals, doing your due diligence. You're never 100% sure, of course, and we also plan for, you know, eggs being broken, making the omelette, but yeah, so that's how we do it at Casper.
I love this question because from one angle, it sounds really easy, but from the other angle, it's basically the question that people are struggling since the beginning of the economy worldwide. So since the economy started to happening on the global market, we are all the time asking how to differentiate good projects, good businesses from the bad ones. So in general, there is one rule of thumb that most of the biggest funds are using. So the founders, the people that are going to build, they are not investing into the idea only. They are investing into the founders, because even if the idea is not a very accurate one, those mature funds like A16Z and other guys like Koszla Ventures, they will help you to pivot. And I will give you one example. I don't know if you are familiar with the history of Twitch. What the Twitch was at the very beginning. Twitch was not the gaming streaming service. It was streaming of the life of the founder from his house. So he was streaming his life 24/7. But he was so eager to build. He was so driven to develop stuff that A16Z and Sequoia, or Sequoia Jazz, I don't remember, invested into this business, and they helped this guy to pivot with a general technology idea that he had, from streaming his house to streaming games and players to the whole world. And that's how it happened. So the most important is the team and the people that are able to deliver, to build, and to be mature enough to get responsibility. And the rest is something you always can adjust. Like, I know a lot of startups, and most during their lifetimes had at least one pivot, like 90 degrees, 108 degrees, or like 5 degrees. But each and every one of those had to adjust to the market, because the initial assumptions are always somehow good, but at the end, with the life cycle of your business, you have more information and you are more accurate with your product to the market. So you need to adjust. You need to be flexible while building business. So that's why, for me, the most important and the most crucial thing is the team that is dedicated to build that, and they will put their lives to make that happen.
Yeah. And I would add to this, though, you know, before these projects have access to big VC, it's not always the case. It's actually, as you say, in bear market, quite hard to get funding and the level of funding that you imagine. It's better to do one thing great than many things poorly. So this is something really important that we look at in our grant program.
So let's say hypothetically that I have a committed team, Paweł, and I passed the scoring, Alizee. I received great grades from the due diligence, and I desperately want to deploy my project on blockchain. So what would you recommend me as of now, given that we are still in the eye of that crypto winter? Are there any silver bullets, any universal recommendations, or perhaps my favorite answer, it depends on the project?
So the first thing you should do, because if you want to put your project onto the blockchain, the question is if you want to found a project that is going to work on blockchain, or you have existing business that you would like to enter into this space, because those are two different things. But in both scenarios, you need to have a knowledge about how blockchain works, because a lot of people from Web2 or Web3 space that do not know what is possible or what is not possible are trying to get their funding, and then they are struggling with building anything and deliver because they have problems. So education is the most important thing at the start. So you should learn at least the base layer, how everything works in the industry, to understand what is possible, what is not possible. And another thing is, like, there is no any silver bullet. because if there would, everyone would build the startup. It's like being stubborn. So the silver bullet for me is being stubborn. As you heard about probably this girl that sold the Canva project, she was talking to 100 VC funds, and each and every one of those 100 VCs turned her down. They said, okay, this is a shitty idea. We will not invest into this. Good luck. And the 101st invested and so on. And she sold this business for how many? 30 billion or something? Yeah, so to Microsoft. So being stubborn in this, if you believe very firmly into what you are building, that's the thing. You need to be stubborn. You need to push this hard. You need to build. You need to invest your own time, own money, maybe to convince some people, friends, to be with you, like Jack Ma did at the early days of Alibaba Group. You saw the videos in the internet, like when Jack Ma is pitching his idea of Alibaba to a bunch of students from the campus. So this is all about being stubborn and believing into your idea. If you are not a believer into what you are building, what kind of founder you are?
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. I cannot agree more. So, being on the end where we talk to a lot of projects, I think what is, an encouragement is whatever, whether you get a grant or not. First of all, we always keep in touch with these projects. And as you say, they will evolve, they will pivot based on the feedback that they receive from many people. So you can always reapply later, at least in our grant program at Casper. And we will check on these projects from time to time. So I think building a network in the space that you're interested in, going to conferences like NBX, meeting a lot of people, there is nothing more valuable than that to really make it a success. And then for the ones that do, are mature enough and do get a grant, or even not, but, are launching and building, I think we shouldn't underestimate the value of the community around each protocol and each project. So I know the Casper community is like super helpful for testing software, for giving feedback, for encouraging, for even amplifying the marketing and communication of great projects from the community. So that's a really great asset that you don't have in traditional businesses. So to me, that has been one of the great findings and great experience with Casper, is the strength of the community.
But what if I were, let's say, a mature company that wants to scale at the moment? Would you say, go ahead, or no, Marcin, stop and wait until the bear market ends?
Obviously, I would say go ahead. Because that aligns to what I have said before, that the bear market is the best moment to build. Because if you will start building your product during the bull market, you will have like 100 of people that started to build their services and products during the bear market, and they are ready to launch now when it's starting, and you are ready now to start building. It shouldn't be like that. So they will be years ahead in front of you. So you will lose the market because of those guys. So you will be like on the 40th place and maybe. So that's why I would say, go ahead, do this fast, bootstrap things, test them. Do not build perfect product. Start with delivery. Delivery is the key. You don't need to deliver perfect product. You need to deliver and constant improve the product that you're building, to build the community, like Alizee said, because this is the most important thing. At the end, we are in the retail business. So we need retail to have business at the end in here. So if we are infrastructure provider like Casper, or if we are a service provider on top of the infrastructure, at the end, we need to execute transactions to build business in here. So that's why it's super important to repeat the process of improvement and deliver. And it should be fast, because probably if you have any idea in your head, there are 10 other people in the world that have the same idea, and maybe they are already building this.
We feel the founder vibe. I love it. Yeah, but I think to your point, it needs to be lean, because we're in bear market. So for me, it's like about focus, doing one or a few things very well, and being prepared to ride the wave that's coming with the bull market, and not, spending on so many different things. I love what the head of marketing at the association says. is, let's not do butter spreading. You should really kind of focus your efforts and your money, because funding is harder to find, on the core of your value proposition. That's and then you'll be ready, and you'll be ahead of the other projects when the summer starts again.
Alizee, when you talked about the importance of communities, I came to realize that basically creating projects in our industry, it's a teamwork from a very beginning. It's like we have to remind ourselves about the basic credo, about things that are created from users to users. That has always been the truth from the very beginning. And I believe that the same is true for the expansion of protocols, for creating the entire ecosystem, to, getting back the notion of solidarity. Probably that would be something that would help the industry survive the current crisis. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so in my opinion, surviving the current crisis that we have is, I will not say anything new, because if you're a founder, you need to be stubborn. You need to sometimes make tough decisions. Like, you have a runway for a year. Yesterday, the market dumped like very low once again. So if the market is like that, you have 1 year of funding and runway in your business. And maybe the problem and the bear market will going to last like for the next 1.5 years. Maybe it's a wise thing to start thinking about cost optimization of your business. You need to be a CEO and a responsible founder, because at the end, the most important and the most crucial thing is the business survival. We are in survival mode right now. It's not the growth. Growth is not a new default. The new default is survival right now, those days. So in my opinion, the most important from the founder and the builder point of view is being responsible during those tough times. So and thinking about the business first.
Yeah, agreed. And it's true that what we want to really amplify is that there are so many opportunities to educate yourself around technology that you need to learn, to get funding through grant programs. So there are opportunities there, but you need to connect the dots, which is why I think having such important like conferences and gatherings of everybody is so important, to spread the word and see the opportunities where they are. I think there is always, the doors are open, but you need to find them and see them. And one thing that is really important to me and to Casper is the inclusion and diversity. So it's not a very diverse industry. And this is something that needs to be changed. And there is money to invest in that. And there is a lot of programs where you can get access, but we need to amplify that ever more.
I will ask you about one specific conference and the open door, or even open Autobahn to Berlin, but I will do it in a moment. Lastly, my final question, according to you, what's the forecast, for example, for the next year when it comes to the condition of our industry? Do you find there might be any threats, any things that might hamper that process of going on to the green side of growth?
Yes, of course. To me, recession is looming. The world economy is growing at a slower pace. You have the climate crisis. You have war in parts of the world. So it is very uncertain times. So no one, if you say what's going to happen in 1 year or 2 years, I think you're lying. So you should hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So that's what we're saying. So really focus your efforts, be lean, be resilient, connect, and you should always plan for your long-term success, but also what you're going to do in 3 months, 6 months from now. That's how I'm seeing things. That being said, these are cycles and we are in the bear market, but there is no doubt that this will end. and you need to get ready for the bull market.
Yeah, so I can agree with everything that has been said, because the market we have right now is a result of the war, of the gas problem, of what Jerome Powell just have said like a couple of days ago, that they can increase the interest rates to the inflation level. So like it's 100% out of the current levels, which is going to kill the economy. But obviously we're gonna stop the inflation. But if those kind of moves are going to stop the inflation, but are going to slow down to the overall worldwide economy, that means that the people will not be thinking about the crypto world. Right now, the liquidity in the crypto and the amount of transactions is significantly lower than it has been like a year ago. We can check this, for example, when we are verifying what is happening on OpenSea. It was like 500 million daily volume. It's like 5 million right now, like 99% liquidity drawdown within 90 days. So that's how volatile market is. And you know, when the good days will come, it can be the same. Like we can have like increase from 5 to 500 million within the next 90 days. So that's a good thing. But completely agree. And this is very similar thing what I have just said, that we need to be responsible in building our businesses. So exactly what Alizee just said, because we don't know what the future will provide us. Maybe it's going to be a good moment and good days will gonna back in, I don't know, spring next year, but maybe not. So what if this is not going to happen, and our runway is like 3 months left? We are going to close our company in the moment like where we should start finding our clients or so. I don't know. So that's why this is super important, about not wishing and have a wishful thinking while building your business, that it's going to be a good moment and to you know, be still on the market April next year, because you don't know it. So that's why you should prepare for the worst moments possible and the worst things that can happen, and you should build your business in such a way always.
So, Alizee, Paweł, time flies and we have run out of time. But before we scamper away, probably it's a good moment to invite everyone to Berlin. As I mentioned at the beginning of our webinar, both Alizee and Paweł will have their talks during the next Block Expo event in Berlin. Would you mind lift the veil of secrecy about what your talks will be?
Sure.
Who would like to start?
I can start. So there will be a big announcement around grant program with Casper. So I'm really wishing that you come and listen in. It's going to be in the afternoon of November 23rd. And we have a very big announcement around grants coming up. So see you there.
Paweł, any sneak peek from your side?
Yeah, so from my side, there are not going to be so big announcement like Casper is going to do. So, but I'm gonna speak about mass adoption, about the ways how to bring Web2 people to Web3 world, about what we should do to increase the community that we have, and more people in the space means lower volatility, so less uncertainty that we have right now on the market. And we see this like yesterday, minus 30% on different coins, like within an hour. So if we would have more people worldwide, geographically diversified, that are using the blockchain, even without knowing that, that would mean that we have less stable ecosystem. So that's why the mass adoption is very important. And this is exactly what my speech is going to be about.
Outstanding. Alizee Carli, Casper Association, Paweł Łaskarzewski, entrepreneur and investor, were my guests. Well, thank you for joining us, joining this webinar, 10Clouds Voices. And of course, I encourage you to share your comments, to tell us whether you like this episode or not. You can also tell us about your company, challenges you are facing right now, and of course, see you in Berlin.
See you.
Thank you, Mark.